Yo, check this out. We got this dude living the absolute blandest life imaginable in a cramped studio apartment, just straight chilling on his mattress, glued to the gallery app on his phone like his life depends on it. Only weird thing, the place is a total dump, literally drowning in trash bags. This mess belongs to our boy Oawu, who just hit the big 2-2. He's 100% convinced he's gonna die a virgin because, well, he's a total hermit, never leaves the crib, a certified shut-in. He knows he gotta step outside to fix his life, but that ain't happening. Why? Because the world outside his door has gone completely sideways. From his third-floor window, the view is basically the apocalypse. Everybody down on the street has turned into flesh-eating, shuffling nightmares. Reason he's trapped? Before the world ended, he bombed a job interview and decided to ghost society for a bit. Bad timing, right? So, he stockpiled enough junk food to survive a nuclear winter just to fuel his little self-pity party. But then boom, the apocalypse hit faster than a viral tweet. Now the city is toast and the neighbors are all brain-dead monsters. Things are looking grim with zero exit plan. He waited for the army or someone to save the day, but that hesitation just left him stranded solo. Music, figuring he's doomed anyway, he yanks the curtains shut, grabs some tissues and prepares for a little solitary stress relief. Meanwhile, down in an empty lot, asterisk crack asterisk. That's the sound of heavy metal skull bashing. Specifically, the butt of a pistol. Music, smashing right into a zombie's face. The hitter? A chick rocking a white lab coat like she just walked out of a science experiment. She's dropping these rotters with minimal effort, saving bullets like they're gold. You can tell she's a pro with that piece just by how she moves. She keeps her elbows bent, maintaining that perfect tactical distance so she doesn't get bit. Music, her coat is shredded and dirty, proof she's been surviving out here for a hot minute. She's in a massive rush, lugging a messenger bag like it's precious cargo. She's running on fumes, totally over this nightmare. But just when she's about to crash, she spots a light glowing from our guy's window. Doesn't matter if it's a trap or a survivor, she decides to gamble everything on that one lit window. If someone's home, she's got a shot. Back inside, our main man is lying there, getting seriously frustrated. Music. He's super ticked off because right at the critical moment, his screen swipes to a pic of some jack dude. Mood killer. While he's raging, asterisk bang 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 asterisk. Someone's pounding on the door. He jumps like a cat, thinking the zombies finally found him. He freezes, listening hard. The knocking gets louder. Now he's freaking out, 100% sure he's about to be lunch. Can't believe this is how it ends. Worst part, his last memory on Earth is gonna be that photo of the buff guy on his phone. He refuses to die with that image in his head. So, in a stroke of absolute genius or madness, he unlocks his phone to finish the job before the zombies get him. Suddenly, the pounding stops and a girl's voice screams through the wood, telling him to open up right now. He snaps out of it, scrambles to the door, and throws it open. The girl practically dies inside instantly. Bad news though, the horde she was fighting is literally right on her heels. It's a do-or-die moment. We're talking centimeters between them and a gruesome death. Music. She tackles Oawu, sending them both crashing to the floor. That stumble gives her just enough space to raise her gun and blast the lead zombie. Even falling backward with zero time to aim, she lands a perfect headshot. Talk about insane luck. Coast is clear. She lets out a breath, realizing her hand is gripping something hard. Oawu turns beet red and whispers, you're crushing my junk, lady." Her face goes pale. Music. She demands to know why he's pantless. He looks away, mumbling excuses. Music, saying he didn't have time to zip up. She notices the texture is weird, lifts her hand, and actually sniffs it. Gross. She realizes exactly what happened. She gives him the nastiest look, totally disgusted that he was busy. While the world was ending, he shuts up, face burning. He feels like trash. She immediately demands to know where the bathroom is to scrub her hands. Later, she admits that despite him being a total creep, it's a win because she actually found a living, breathing human. She's honestly just grateful to be alive and thanks him for actually unlocking the door. She steps out of the bathroom, flashing a confident grin. She introduces herself as Sunny Aishu, Music, the youngest, hottest researcher alive. She even tells him he has the honor of calling her Sunny the Genius. He rolls his eyes at the nickname and roasts her for wearing muddy boots inside. She snaps back that she needs to be ready to bolt if zombies break in. Music. Ignoring her excuse, he asks what a so-called genius is doing in a dump like this. Sunny smirks. She pops open her case and pulls out an injector that looks like a high-tech pistol. Music. She puffs out her chest, claiming she created a zombie vaccine. Oawu is shook, asking if this means the nightmare is finally over. Sunny looks away, suddenly awkward. She admits the success rate is technically 0%, maybe 1% on a good day. His jaw hits the floor. 1%? You gotta be kidding me. She shrugs, saying it's like pulling a legendary character in a gacha game super rare. He sarcastically calls it precious and asks why on earth she brought it to his room. Aishu slowly backed up against the wall, her energy bar basically hitting zero. Her legs started wobbling like jello, and boom, she face-planted right onto the floor. She let out this long sigh, forced a smile, and was like, okay, I'm chill now. Then she started dropping the lore dump on what she went through just to get to my crib. So, check this out. Way out in the boonies, far from where we were chilling, there was this super secret lab buried deep inside a mountain. We're talking Area 51 vibes, helicopter access only, totally off the grid to the public. The big brains down there caught wind of the zombie apocalypse early and started cooking up a vaccine just in case things went south. Against all odds, they actually nailed the formula on the first try. They were hyping it up, ready to mass produce that liquid gold. But of course, right at the buzzer, one of the team members got bit and started spreading the virus all over the lab like a glitter bomb. It was a total domino effect. Everyone turned into walkers one by one until Aishu was the last player standing, tasked with guarding the cure. She barely made it out of the lab, trekking down the mountain with zero gear, just the briefcase with the goods. She spent the whole time solo leveling her way to the city. She didn't expect the journey to take a whole week. But finally, like destiny or some rom-com trope, she saw the RGB lights glowing from my bedroom window. She said she was literally crying tears of joy because she finally found another NPC who hadn't turned into a brain eater yet. But because she was celebrating too early, she let her guard down and surprise, got chomped on. She managed to escape the horde. But yeah, anyway, back to the present. After finishing her story, Aishu rolled up her lab coat sleeve to show me the damage. It was gnarly. Black veins were glitching out and spreading all over her arm. She gave me this awkward, painful grin. She admitted she was about to game over and join the zombie team soon. She said her vision was already getting blurry, like her graphics card was dying. Now she realized that the hallucinations she was seeing were probably why the infected go full rage mode. It's gotta be terrifying. Still, she felt lucky to have a moment of clarity. Since she was still somewhat sane, she decided to use her inventory item, the vaccine, on yours truly. I looked at the injector in her hand and was like, yo, that needle is thick as hell. Then her previous words finally clicked in my brain. I started panicking, asking, why me though? Aishu looked at me with those puppy eyes and said if she used it on herself now, it would be a total waste of loot. Then she got super serious and told me she had to ask one critical question. She said if I messed this up, it was basically the end of the world. She promised she wasn't trying to cancel me or judge me, so I needed to be 100% honest. I just nodded like a bobblehead. Then she drops the bomb. Are you a pervert? Like, can you actually get turned on by a real-life woman? I cringed so hard, wondering what kind of question that was, but she swore she wasn't trolling. I awkwardly stammered that I am a normal dude who is definitely into girls. She smiled like mission passed and suddenly started unbuttoning her shirt. My jaw hit the floor. I almost jumped out of my skin. Turns out, she was trying to jumpstart my system, if you know what I mean. Once she saw little you standing at attention, her face went tomato red. She explained that when it is fully upright, it is easier to administer the shot. With zero hesitation and total innocence, she jammed that massive needle straight into my joystick. I swear I saw my ancestors. The pain was absolute level 10 agony. It hurt so bad I dropped to the floor instantly. If this were a game, my health bar would have been one-shotted to zero. Aishu was awkwardly apologizing while laughing nervously. She told me if we had time to spare, she would have gone for the arm or leg, but for the instant buff, this was the only way. Then she whispers that since I took the shot for the team, I could do whatever I wanted to her. I was spiraling, so I just yelled, I am not falling for that clickbait again. Suddenly, she yanked me up, gripping my shoulders tight. She looked desperate, begging me not to talk like that. But the virus was draining her battery. She got weak and collapsed right on top of me, pinning me to the floor. She straddled me and whispered that I really could take advantage of the situation right now. With her last bit of energy, she grabbed my shirt collar and said, who knows? Maybe your magic wand is the secret cure to this zombie apocalypse. I was completely lost in the sauce. What was she even talking about? I panicked, shouting, wait, didn't you beta test this stuff first? Aishu looked terrified and admitted, honestly, I have no clue if it actually works. That made me freak out even more. I demanded answers, but her timer was hitting zero. She just kept apologizing for dragging me into this mess. She started sobbing uncontrollably, admitting she was absolutely terrified of what was happening to her. She prayed the vaccine wouldn't be a dud because she didn't want it to end like this. Then, mid-sentence, absolute silence. Her grip on my shirt went from hold to crush. The veins on her hands popped out like crazy, and her strength level spiked off the charts. Slowly, Aishu lifted herself up. The black infection lines were everywhere now, and her eyes, completely white. Her soul had left the chat. We locked eyes, and she lunged at me, screaming like a banshee. I freaked out and reflex kicked her right into the wall. Yeet. She stayed down for a sec. I couldn't believe Aishu was actually a zombie now. Her nails were clawing deep grooves into the floorboards like a feral beast. She scrambled up and came at me again, totally unhinged. I was terrified, using both hands to keep her snapping jaws away from my face. But even in this life or death moment, my simp brain had the audacity to think, damn, she looks kinda cute right now. That thought died instantly when she knocked my hands away and chomped down hard on my shoulder. I screamed. It wasn't a love bite, it was a ripping flesh bite, blood everywhere. I wondered if this was the end of my run. Would I turn into a zombie too? Honestly, getting eaten by Aishu wasn't the worst way to go out. Then I looked down and saw her sneakers. They were completely shredded, proof of how hard she fought just to find one living soul after fleeing that lab. Seeing that triggered a flashback to the story she told me just minutes ago about her escape. Yu's brain was basically spamming him with questions about Aishu, like, how did she survive the woods on 0 calories? And what was her nightly routine out there in the creep fest? He figured she must have had a squad back at the lab but ended up riding solo during the escape. Her grand finale, finding a new glimmer of hope him. Her last words were stuck on replay in his head. She said she couldn't check out here. That hit home because Yu wanted to keep breathing too. He wasn't ready for the game over screen. This responsibility was way too heavy for a dude whose biggest daily achievement was usually solo leveling in his bedroom. Aishu's bite was getting deeper and crazier, making him scream like a banshee. He realized he had 0 options left except to trust whatever crazy stuff she spouted earlier. Basically, if he didn't cure her zombie mode, he was going to be dinner. Standing on the edge of life and death, he was about to lose it, but his brain tried to keep a grip on sanity. Just as he was about to make his move, Aishu started fighting back like a wildcat, scaring the daylights out of him. Still, he tried his best to pin her down. After wrestling to control her, his hand accidentally grazed her chest. Whoops. But then, something totally weird happened. Aishu went from thrashing to statue still, shivering all over. Yu realized something wild. Even zombified bodies still have standard physiological updates installed. He did what had to be done. He tried to keep her quiet by basically serving up his own arm as a chew toy. Finally, mission accomplished, the cure was delivered. Yu snapped out of his adrenaline rush and immediately felt a wave of regret crashing down. He told himself there's no undo button now. Over on the bed, those creepy black veins on Aishu started fading out like a bad tattoo removal. Her breathing stabilized. Just as he was about to sneak out, Aishu's legs locked around his waist and she yanked his jacket, making him jump out of his skin. She wrapped him in a massive bear hug. The waterworks started flowing as she realized she hadn't actually despawned. Afterwards, Aishu stood up and stretched like a cat, grinning ear to ear because she beat the nastiest virus on the server. While Aishu was glowing, Yu was curled up in the corner, drowning in guilt. Aishu, totally clueless, asked him what his deal was. With a voice full of "my bad," he mumbled a question about whether she remembered her zombie phase. Catching his drift, Aishu reminded him she gave him the green light earlier, so he didn't need to stress about it. Then she just swiped left on those zombie memories. She plopped onto the couch and started the science lecture. Apparently, she injected him with 2 dormant vaccine variants. When that stuff hits a healthy system, it activates, turning the person into a walking antivirus software against the zombies. Aishu's face turned bright red as she explained the catch. Infected people can be cured by absorbing bodily fluids from the vaccine host. Yeah, asterisk those times fluids. Yu checked his shoulder and saw the bite mark had already healed up. Talk about a fast respawn rate. So, basically, the only way to save these zombies is to get up close and extremely personal. Aishu swore her research team ran out of time, so they had to dump all their hard work into him. That's why she forced him to take the shot. She felt bad for dragging him into this mess and apologized. But facts are facts. He now has a medical duty to go out and pollinate every female zombie in the country. Yu's face went ghost white. He couldn't believe he had to carry that kind of massive burden. Fast forward a bit after the rescue mission. Aishu hopped into the bathroom to scrub off a week's worth of survival grime. Stepping out, she was hyped that the water and gas were still working. Little wins, right? After drying off and throwing on some of his clothes, she asked about the next move. But before she could finish, her stomach let out a monster growl. She instantly locked eyes with the instant noodles on the table. Yu gave her the nod, and she attacked the stove without hesitation. A few minutes later, Aishu looked like she found nirvana. She actually shouted about how good that cheap bowl of soup was. He told her to swallow before talking, letting out a quiet sigh because that pile of noodles was literally the last of his stash. But watching her tear up over noodles, he couldn't bring himself to drop the bad news. She'd been fighting for her life out there for a week with 0 supplies. Meal done. Aishu dropped the new quest location, Tokyo. Apparently, there's a pharmaceutical plant there secretly cooking up vaccine research. If they make it there, They can replicate the vaccine and use his body to mass-produce the cure. No pressure. He asked if that would officially end the apocalypse. Aishu didn't exactly give him a straight answer. With an awkward look, she admitted their survival odds for next week were basically zero, mostly because she just vacuumed up the last of the food. You stayed quiet. He figured that was coming. Then she asked him for a sit trip on the outside world. He admitted he'd been rotting in his room for a month, the internet and TV brick before he even knew zombies were a thing. She nodded and said, step one was a grocery run. Aishu casually suggested looting the other apartments, but you hesitated about the neighbors, saying they all looked locked down tight and empty for ages. She checked a few doors locked, obviously. But instead of quitting, she flashed him a mischievous smirk that left him totally confused. She went back to his room, hopped the balcony railing, and jumped to the neighbor's side. Her logic: break in through the balcony glass and open the front door from the inside. Easy. The move nearly gave him a heart attack since she was hopping between balconies at a dizzying height. Aishu stuck the landing like a pro and popped the door open. She told him to get in there and loot everything: food, drinks, whatever wasn't nailed down. Music, slow and steady, wins the race, right? They started tossing the place, room by room. In Unit 304, they hit a mini jackpot: canned food and some water. But room 303, total bust. Just a pile of trash. 302 wasn't much better, except they found this outfit that looked like it was made for Aishu. Aishu didn't even hesitate. She swapped her gear right there because, let's be real, her current fit was a disaster. After clearing the loot, they hit the final door. While Aishu messed with the lock, Yu had a total brain blast. He knew who lived here. Cue the flashback. Music. One night, Yu was just trying to make a munchies run to the 7-Eleven when he saw some drama. A girl was scrapping with a dude. She had that fake blonde Jaru look, but you could see the black roots showing. And she was livid, like zero chill. She was going full MMA on this guy, kicking and stomping him while he was down. She was roasting him with some serious trash talk until the guy scrambled away in terror. Yu was shaking in his boots but kind of felt bad for the dude. Trying to be Mr. Nice Guy, Yu stepped up to ask if she was good. Big mistake. She spun around, tears streaming down her face, looking at him like he was garbage. She barked, "What are you looking at?" and threatened to fold him like laundry. Yu turned ghost white, apologized, and dipped immediately. Snapped back to reality. Aishu was waving him over, face twisted up like she smelled something nasty. They stepped inside, and Yu's face went pale. The tough blonde from his memory, she was a full-blown zombie now. It was grim, guys. She had tied her own neck to the closet handle with a cloth. She must have restrained herself before she turned. Aishu looked at him. "You know this chick?" Yu shook his head. "Nah, didn't get the chance. That fight messed up my store run, so we never actually met." Aishu pointed down. "Check out the calf. See that? A gnarly bite mark." Aishu figured the girl got tagged by a walker outside, panic ran home to check the damage. She realized it was game over. So, while she was still lucid, she tied herself up to keep from hurting anyone. Talk about a tragic ending. Music. Suddenly, the zombie girl lunged. She tried to grab Aishu, but our girl has ninja reflexes and dodged it just in time. Yu nodded, feeling the tragedy of it all, but was like, "Okay, what's the move?" Aishu grabbed a rope with a wicked grin. "I got a plan." Aishu snagged the zombie's hands mid-lunge and tied them tight to the same doorknob, choking her. Boom. Totally immobilized. Yu looked at her, kinda disappointed. "Damn, Aishu. That's cold-blooded. I thought you were gonna put her out of her misery, not truss her up like a Thanksgiving turkey. That's harsh." Aishu rolled her eyes. "Chill out with the accusations. I ain't killing her. You were gonna save her." She lifted the zombie's leg. "Look at the bite. It's fresh meat." Music. "She probably only turned a couple of days ago." Music. "We can still reboot her." Yu scratched his chin, looking clueless. "Save her? How?" Aishu patted his shoulder, dead serious. "Only one way, buddy. You gotta give her the injection." Yu's jaw dropped. "Are you crazy? She's a literal zombie." Aishu smirked. "What? Is your little soldier too scared to stand at attention because she's undead?" Yu sighed, defeated. Aishu helped set the mood with some techniques, and eventually, Yu had to step up and do the deed. Same thing he did for Aishu. Don't ask. After the therapy session, music miracle of miracles, it worked. The black veins started fading away. She was healing. A bit later, Aishu came back looking spooked. Yu was frantically trying to untie the rope around the girl's neck. Now that she's human, she was actually choking. But the knot was insane. He couldn't budge it. Music. Aishu slammed the main door shut and braced her whole body against it. A massive, guttural roar erupted from the hallway. Yu jumped out of his skin. "Forget the knot," Aishu screamed. "Get your butt over here and help me hold the door." Bad news, guys. The zombies outside were pounding on the door. We made too much noise during your little session, Aishu yelled. We rang the dinner bell. Music, she told you to hurry, but it was too late. Bam. The door exploded open, launching Aishu across the room. The horde started pouring in. Aishu was terrified they busted through a solid steel door. You scrambled to help her up. How many are there? He stammered, panicking. Maybe 4, she gasped. Can we take him? You asked. No shot, she replied instantly. Their brain limiters are gone. These things are hysterical strength monsters now. You know how our brains stop us from using 100% of our muscle power so we don't rip apart? Yeah, zombies don't have that switch. Music. They'll tear their own muscles to shreds just to get a bite of us. Music. Suddenly, a loud crack times echoed from behind them. They froze. That sound came from the corner where the tied-up girl was. They stared in shock. They thought you cured her, right? But veins were popping on her face, and she just ripped the closet door off its hinges with her bare hands. She snapped the ropes like they were wet pasta. Music. With a deep, scary voice, she growled, move. You and Aishu were paralyzed. Aishu reacted on instinct, shoving Yu's head down just as the closet door sailed over them like a frisbee. The girl groaned, rubbing her neck. Music, man. My head is spinning. I really thought I turned into one of those things. She was totally shook and confused, demanding to know what the hell was poppin', but she zipped her lip real quick when she saw the undead squad rolling up to the room. Then she clocks Yu, a literal human dude, and absolutely loses it. She swears on her life she's gonna cancel his subscription to Living once this zombie drama is wrapped up. My boy Yu is standing there like a deer in headlights, totally clueless. Bro hasn't even done anything to get on her bad side. Meanwhile, Aishu's brain is buffering over that closet door situation. Yeah, the girl does Pilates or whatever, but she isn't swole enough to rip doors off hinges like that. Aishu starts thinking, maybe that door was just cheap, IKEA garbage if a skinny legend like her could rip it off that easily. Then it hits her, what if this chick is rocking that zombie-level strength stat? Aishu gets her answer instantly as the zombies crash the party. The girl lunges at the fridge, grabbing the base like she's about to deadlift a Volkswagen. Aishu screams, girl, stop. You ain't Wonder Woman. But she just ignores the haters and goes full beast mode. She yells, move, losers. And I kid you not, eats the entire refrigerator at the zombie squad. Yu's jaw is literally on the floor right now. Aishu is shook, but the math is mathing. She knows zombies have super strength because their brains turn off the don't hurt yourself safety switch. Diagnosis: this girl is a total unicorn. She's got that unlimited zombie horsepower, but still has her human brain drivers installed. That epic fridge toss sent a bunch of those rot bags flying off the balcony like it was a WWE cage match. One zombie tries to snack on her ankle, but before the squad can warn her, she delivers a roundhouse kick that sends it straight to the shadow realm. The vibe in the room? Dead silent. Yu and Aishu are too stunned to even speak. Monsters handled, she spins around and points a finger right at Yu's face. Pure murder in her eyes, she announces, you're next on the menu, buddy. She stomps over, accusing him of getting handsy and being a total creep while she was out cold. Major Karen energy right now. Yu turns pale as a ghost, grabbing onto Aishu and screaming like a terrified little girl in a horror movie. Suddenly, her battery dies. She wobbles and faceplants. Yu blinks and asks, did she just unalive herself? Aishu's like, nah, she just burned through her stamina bar. She tells Yu to help drag Sleeping Beauty back to their base. Yu lets out a massive sigh, praying she doesn't wake up and choose violence again as they hoist her up. Walking down the hall, Aishu cracks a joke about how they look like they're kidnapping someone. Yu just gives a nervous laugh, trying not to think about it. They finally haul her back to Yu's spot. Moments later, she wakes up and starts inhaling food like she hasn't eaten since 1945. Yu and Aishu watch in silence, Yu's practically crying, seeing their hard-earned loot disappear in seconds. Aishu looks bummed too, muttering, I thought zombies were low maintenance. Since when do they need groceries? The girl, Ka, actually looks a little guilty and says, look, my stomach was staging a protest. What was I supposed to do? Once the food coma hits, Aishu explains the whole zombie virus cure thing. Ka thinks it sounds like total sci-fi nonsense, but since she isn't craving brains anymore, she accepts it and thanks Aishu. Aishu smiles and drops the bomb, actually, thank you. He's the real MVP. Ka makes a disgusted face, salty as hell. Yeah, I figured, but I really hate owing that loser a favor. Aishu asks about the bite mark on her leg. Ka checks it out, just a scar now, 0 pain. Wolverine healing factor engaged. Aishu checks her own battle scars, but the fatigue hits her like a truck. She tells the squad to hit the hay and talk later. Kay's like, wait, sleepover, here? Aishu hits her with facts. Well, your front door is basically firewood now, So yeah. Ka realizes she's beaten. She goes silent, then says she'll go grab her mattress from down the hall. Watching his man cave turn into a refugee camp breaks Yu's heart. This is my room, he whines. Aishu just giggles and apologizes. Ka, being her usual charming self, sets up a DMZ and threatens Yu not to cross the border or else. They build a little Berlin Wall out of a desk and some junk to separate Yu from the ladies. Aishu stretches out on the mattress, finally relaxing. Yo, real talk. It's been forever since I felt something this soft. Even Ka feels a little bad, realizing Aishu's been through the ringer. Yu pipes up from his corner. Good night, guys. Ka grunts back something rude. Hours pass, but Yu is staring at the ceiling, totally wired. He checks his phone 0 bars, no Wi-Fi. He starts spiraling about how insane the last 24 hours have been. He wonders what the heck he's gonna do tomorrow since doom scrolling is officially cancelled. He slowly sits up to check on the girls. Big mistake. Ka is sitting right there, staring into the void. Panic mode. He dives back under the covers, pretending to be asleep. Then he hears footsteps creeping closer. It's definitely her. She taps his head. She knows he's faking. Before he can beg for mercy, she puts a finger to her lips and signals him to follow her. They sneak out into the hallway. He realizes she's leading him back to her place, the one with the missing door. Yu is totally confused, asking why she's dragging him around in the middle of the night like a creep. But when Ka spins around, it's straight up nightmare fuel. Those nasty black veins are pulsing up her neck and taking over her face, leaving our guy too shook to speak. Then she snaps. She grabs him by the collar and slams him against the broken wall, dangling him right over the edge. But just as he's about to plummet, she yanks him back inside. Talk about mixed signals. Clinging to her last shred of sanity, she snaps at him. Hey, you fixed that other girl, right? Music. So you can fix me too. Don't play dumb. Hearing that, he instinctively glances at her leg where the corruption is spreading. Her voice is cracking, pure desperation mode, trying to convince herself she hasn't gone full zombie yet. She straight up admits she's terrified of turning into a walking corpse. So, there's only one option left. They gotta initiate that special medical procedure. If you catch my drift. Seeing her dead serious about this blows his mind. Music. Usually she treats him like trash on the sidewalk, so he actually has to double-check if she's sure she wants to get intimate with times him asterisk. Fighting back tears, she snaps that obviously she doesn't want to. That brutal honesty hits him hard. He realizes his social standing is basically in the negatives. He knows he's the only antidote in town, so it's technically saving a life. But let's be real, he's the only one catching a win in this situation, because hooking up with someone who hates your guts is just emotional damage waiting to happen. While he's overthinking it, Ka loses control and lunges, strangling him. She's fighting her feral instincts, but his windpipe is paying the price. Gasping for air, he drops the lamest excuse ever. Wait, finish. Really fast. It won't take long. The reason, he confesses, he only recently lost his V-card. That admission is so pathetic it actually shocks Ka back to reality, and her grip loosens. He promises this awkward encounter will be over in a blink, and she can totally punch his lights out afterwards as payment. She finally releases his neck so he can breathe. Music. Voice trembling, she apologizes and drops a disclaimer. Whatever I say next, delete it from your memory banks immediately. Face burning red, she confesses. Look, I know I look like a party girl, but I'm actually super traditional. I don't just sleep around with random guys. Okay. That revelation freezes his brain. He stares at her, eyes wide, completely unable to process that this baddie is actually a wholesome girl. While mumbling an apology, music, he's internally screaming. Who would have thought the girl with the wildest style was the most innocent one here? So, they finally get down to business. Music. Post-game, Ka looks down and is stunned to see the infection on her leg has completely vanished. Magic. He tries to sneak away like a ninja, but Ka snaps back into boss mode and yells at him. He freezes, terrified she's remembering the free punch he promised. Music. She stomps over with an aura of pure murder, but when she swings, it's not the knockout blow he was expecting. Instead, she just bonks him lightly on the head and calls him a wimp. Crisis averted. She turns around, announcing she's going back to sleep. She doesn't look back, music marching off to hide her blushing face. Meanwhile, our guy trails behind her, radiating pure awkward energy. Music. The next morning, Aishu wakes up feeling refreshed. She notices the lovebirds are missing. Music, but a moment later, the two of them wander back in. Ka acts totally casual, telling Aishu they just went downstairs on a scavenging run for breakfast. She holds up a couple of ramen packets that expired 2 months ago. Best I could find, she asks. Hope you guys aren't picky. Aishu is just happy not to starve and thanks her profusely. They fire up the stove and sit down for a gourmet meal of instant noodles. Aishu gives a nervous laugh, admitting their situation is looking grim. She tells our guy to scrap the Tokyo road trip plans since surviving next week is already a long shot. Ka mentions she already looted the immediate area, and there's absolutely nada left. Music. Our guy suggests checking the outskirts. Ka catches on immediately, asking if he means that spot near the big hardware store and grocery mart. He nods, and she's totally on board. Music. She suggests they head over there to check it out right after they finish eating. But then he starts backtracking, worrying that every other survivor probably had the same idea and picked the place clean. While he's spiraling, Ka glances at his cup. It's almost empty. She lets out a huge sigh and tells him to quit overthinking everything. He looks confused, so Ka leans her head on his shoulder, pointing out that he deliberately took a smaller portion so the girls could eat more. Feeling her lean on him makes him stiffen up. He tries to deny it, stuttering some excuse about not finding another bowl. Ka isn't having it. She demands he eats some of her noodles. He tries to say no, but she practically force-feeds him. Music. Defeated, he takes a bite. Across the room, Aishu is grinning like a Cheshire cat, wondering when these two got so cozy. Music, considering they were mortal enemies yesterday. This is sus. Aishu puts on her teasing voice. So, did something spicy happen while I was asleep? Music. She takes a wild guess that they hooked up. Bullseye. Both of their faces turn into tomatoes instantly. Ka tries to deny everything, but Aishu isn't buying it. She grabs Ka's leg to inspect for the bite mark. The scar is fading fast, proof positive. After breakfast, Ka and Aishu head back to the room. Aishu lifts her lab coat to take a sniff and immediately gags. She throws that thing across the room like it's radioactive. She realizes she's been wearing that same outfit for a week straight in the woods. No wonder it smells like a dumpster fire. She tosses the coat and apologizes for subjecting Kay to the stench. Kay laughs it off and tells Aishu to raid her closet, even if the fit might be a bit loose. Music. While changing, Ka points out that the lab coat is basically a biohazard at this point, but Aishu panics, snatches it back, and insists she's keeping it. Ka is a bit creeped out but offers her own jacket as a cover-up instead. Aishu thanks her, but declines. She just can't bring herself to trash that old rag. Ka gives a knowing smile and a sigh, letting the kid have her way. So, Aishu's trying to be a total sweetheart, offering to comb Ka's hair with this cute little brush. Ka hits her with that winning smile, all grateful. But just as Aishu steps in thud, something ridiculously heavy drops out of her blouse. Take a closer look, fam. It turns out that heavy object is the literal handgun Aishu was packing earlier. Talk about a hidden inventory. Ka's soul basically leaves her body. She's shaking like a leaf, asking if that thing is real. Aishu is stone cold chill, like, relax, it's out of ammo. Which, honestly, just makes Ka panic even harder. Meanwhile, Yu is cooling his heels outside Ka's room, looking fresh and fully dressed. He hears the girls yapping and calls back, asking if the squad is finally ready to roll. The fit check passes, they're both looking pleased with their new gear. Squad assembled, time to head out. Ka checks Yu's drip, asking if that's his daily wear. Yu nods, explaining it's just some backup loot. Ka hits him with a smile, telling him the look is actually a vibe. Then she drops his name casually. Yu hits the thank you button, feeling all warm and fuzzy inside but low-key blushing like a shy anime protagonist. Hearing the name, Aishu tilts her head, innocent as a lamb. Wait, who's you? Ka shoots her a look of pure disappointment, like, girl, are you serious right now? You don't know the main character's name. Aishu realizes she messed up and starts panic rambling. You? He just stands there with that awkward I want to disappear smile to hide the cringe. Walking down the stairs, Ka starts roasting her. You want him to save the world, but you can't remember his name? Aishu? Zero interest. Unbothered queen behavior. Feeling guilty, Aishu hits Yu with a, my bad, I swear I care. Yu doesn't say a word, just staring at the sky. She thinks she's been ghosted. In real life, Ka assumes Yu is salty and jumps in, bro, don't take it personal. She didn't mean to throw shade. Yu shakes his head. I ain't mad. Just never thought my first time outside would feel this surreal. Walking down the street, Aishu whispers, psst, when did you learn his name? Ka sighs, literally before you woke up, sleepyhead. They finally reach the spot. Aishu goes into pro-gamer mode, stay off the sidewalks, chat. Zombies love camping there for a jump scare. Kay spots a wrecked car. Her and Yu creep up to see if there's any loot worth grabbing. Aishu freaks out, yo, don't peek in the windows. That's how you get your face bitten off. They nest in there like it's an Airbnb. Then her face lights up with a chaotic idea. But hey, if it's a female zombie, that's a chance for you to spread your legacy. Yu lets out a sigh so heavy it probably cracked the pavement. Dude is devastatingly bummed about his biological duty to repopulate with the undead. Seeing him depressed, Ka pouts and punches Yu's shoulder for no reason. Aishu, reading the room wrong, goes, "Don't worry, bro. If the engine won't start, I'll help you. Rev it up." Ka is confused, like help, how? While subconsciously turning Yu's arm into a punching bag without realizing it. Aishu shrugs, straight-faced. "I'll just flash him some skin. Easy morale boost." Ka turns tomato red, stuttering. I am not doing that." Unconsciously delivering a critical hit to Yu's bicep. Realizing she's abusing the poor guy, Ka starts apologizing like crazy. Suddenly, Aishu holds up a hand. Quiet on set, the distinct sound of growling and shuffling feet echoes down the block. They look over a mob of walkers is trying to break into a store. Looks like they smell fresh meat inside. Even though the tea is piping hot, Aishu's like, "Nope, not our circus, not our monkeys. Let's ghost." They turn to leave, but glance back one last time. Ka spots a survivor completely surrounded. She freezes. She knows how this movie ends, and her conscience just won't let her walk away. Aishu whispers, "Can you do that telekinesis thing again?" Ka snaps, "Girl, I ain't got super strength on demand. I tried earlier on a snack run with you. Couldn't even open a locked door, let alone yeet a fridge." Aishu realizes Ka's powers are glitchy, probably need an adrenaline trigger. She decides not to bet the farm on it. Aishu tests the waters. "What if I said we ditch him? Would you guys listen to me and bail?" Ka looks torn and disappointed. Aishu breaks it down. "Look, I can't risk us. Especially not you. If you goes down, the cure is gone. Game over. But if that random turns into a zombie, you can just heal them later. No biggie. Better to wait it out, lure one straggler away safely, instead of Leroy Jenkinsing into a horde right now. Plus, I don't want you taking damage either." Ka clicks her tongue, annoyed because she knows Aishu's logic is sound. Yu gets it too, so he stays quiet. Suddenly, he grabs a piece of lumber off the ground. "All right, loadout ready." The girls are shook. Aishu jumps in front of him like a human shield. "Whoa, pause. Put that down." Yu challenges her. "Don't we have to save them?" Aishu pushes back. "Look, I know I sound heartless and cold. You can hate me for it. I don't care. But Yu isn't having it. If I let someone die just to revive them for my job later. I couldn't look myself in the mirror. Total mood killer." His voice drops, dead serious. "Sorry. I know that's a pathetic, weird reason to risk our lives." Ka is speechless, jaw on the floor. Aishu, hearing his thoughts, stays calm. "Drop the stick, Yu." She locks eyes with him. "Don't pick up a weapon unless your resolve is absolutely bulletproof." She knows her way around a piece. She broke it down for me. Packing heat is actually a mental trap. You get this false confidence thinking, "I can handle this," which makes you hesitate when you should be booking it. Aishu kept it 100. Plans never survive first contact. So the second things get sketchy, don't freeze up. Just dip. Immediately. She even told me straight up if I need to hide behind her, she won't judge. No shade thrown. She's been consistent about that since day one. Even though our first meeting was basically a cringe compilation, she's actually grateful our paths crossed. Ka, looking all curious but gloomy, asked what kind of first impression I left on Aishu. I just mumbled some vague nonsense because, honestly, it was too embarrassing to say out loud. Major L. Then I told the squad, "I got this." Spotted a rock about the size of a fist near my foot. Music. Aishu flicked the rock up with her foot like a soccer pro, caught it mid-air, and closed the gap to the store in one leap. She launched herself so hard she basically turned into a human missile. She aimed for the storefront window, just tossing the rock lightly. She let physics and momentum handle the heavy lifting. Funny thing is, Aishu's headspace was totally clear because she slept like a rock last night. No dreams, just pure REM sleep. She was running on full battery, zero fatigue to mess up her game. The rock dinged the glass, just enough to spiderweb it. Perfect. Music. The whole point was to compromise the structure so she wouldn't shatter her shin bone from the impact recoil. Smart. Riding that momentum, Aishu drop-kicked right through the glass, shattering it into confetti. Luck was on our side, her boot connected squarely with a zombie right in front of the survivor, buying them a few precious seconds. Turns out the VIP was a high school girl clutching a wooden practice sword like her life depended on it. The girl looked shook by Aishu's action movie entrance. Aishu immediately reached out, signaling her to bolt through the fresh hole in the window. Music, she told the kid to turn off her brain and just move her legs. Run now, think later. The second Aishu touched down, she punted another zombie trying to grab the girl. In that split-second music, she clocked the girl's face. She was spiraling. Aishu knew if she gave complex instructions, the girl would just freeze up or get suspicious music. So Aishu barked a short, sharp command to jumpstart her system. Worked like a charm, the girl snapped out of it and scrambled out of the store. They sprinted toward me and Ka. The horde in the shop tried to follow, but one straggler lunged at Aishu, who was covering the rear. Aishu was ready to check it, but then disaster struck. The newbie turned around, trying to play hero and attack the zombie herself. Total facepalm moment. Aishu screamed at her to keep running, but it was too late. With zero form, the girl poked the zombie with her wooden stick. She stopped it, sure, but it did absolutely zero damage. Once again, Aishu's theory was spot on. Give someone a garbage weapon, and they start making garbage decisions. Thinking you can throw hands just because you're holding something turns survival into a coin toss. You either clutch it or you get wrecked. That hit would have hurt a normal person, but zombies don't feel pain. It was completely useless. The second that useless attack landed, Aishu used the distraction to swap places with her. As the zombie swiped, Aishu dropped her center of gravity, locked its legs with hers, and executed a flawless scissor takedown mixed with a judo throw. The zombie ate dirt hard. While Aishu handled business, Ka grabbed the girl by the shoulder, reassured her Aishu was a tank, and dragged her away. Aishu yelled for us to hop the wall up ahead and get to the other side. Me and Ka vaulted over first and called back that the coast was clear. We landed, but the girls were stressing about Aishu. Suddenly, she backflipped over the wall and stuck a superhero landing. Aishu didn't even pose, she just yelled, "Don't just stand there gawking, move." Music. While we booked it, the new girl asked, "Who is she? Special Forces? A ninja?" Me and Ka just looked at each other and said in unison, "She's a researcher." Music. That answer broke her brain. We finally stopped to catch our breath. Music. She thanked us profusely for the save and introduced herself as Naro Shihoji. Naro said she hit up that store looking for snacks but came up empty-handed. I told her, "Yeah, that's what everyone thinks." Then I pointed at the stick in her hand. "What's with the lumber?" She explained she's in the kendo club and thought it'd be good for self-defense. Reality check. It wasn't. Meanwhile, I saw Aishu whispering something to Ka. They were definitely plotting. Music. Aishu told me to turn around, and Ka told me to plug my ears. Being the good guy I am, I did exactly what I was told. Suddenly, the two of them tackled Naro and started frisking her like aggressive TSA agents. Naro was freaking out, screaming, "What are you doing?" Ka, while still patting her down, explained they were checking to see if she was. Music. Bitten. Aishu told her not to be shy, but they were getting a little too hands-on. Naro finally snapped and yelled at them to cut it out. She swore she wasn't bit. "Look, if I was bit, my clothes would be ripped and there'd be blood everywhere." The girls froze. Music realization hit them. Ka tried to save face immediately. "Well, if you were bitten, that would be used department." "Excuse me?" Naro asked. Ka pointed at me and said with a straight face, "You over there is a total creep. He's only into girls if they're undead." Hearing that, Naro immediately pointed her wooden sword right at my face, looking at me like I was absolute trash. Yu was practically hyperventilating after Ka roasted him, begging Naro to believe he isn't some total creeper. Naro just ignored the drama and asked if the squad was heading to the safe zone. She broke it down that place is basically Refugee Central, and it's actually where she bailed from. Hearing that, Aishu decided to stick to the OG game plan and head straight there. Meanwhile, Yu got all curious and wondered if rolling up as a trio would make them look like dead weight to the survivors inside. Ka told him to chill and wait till they got there, but Naro suddenly dipped, telling the crew to stay frosty. Seeing Naro try to ghost them, Aishu innocently grabbed her shoulder, asking, "Yo, aren't you riding with us?" Naro started stuttering, mumbling about how going back would be super awkward. She figured it was best to just bounce. Aishu wasn't having it. She told her straight up going solo out there is a one-way ticket to the afterlife. Naro wanted to clap back, but honestly, she had nothing. Cass stepped up and dropped some truth bombs. If Aishu hadn't saved Naro back at the store, she would have been zombie chow by now. Ka grabbed her hand to pull her along, but Naro suddenly went 0 to 100, screaming at him to get his hands off her. That outburst shook everyone, especially Kay. Naro immediately switched to apology mode, clutching that wooden practice sword like a teddy bear. Voice shaking, she explained she thought Ka was trying to swipe her blade, and without it, her anxiety levels go through the roof. Ka was salty about being treated like a thief, snapping that he had zero interest in jacking her gear. Even with the explanation, Naro was still saying nope to joining. She claimed she'd camp out right there and just play it safe next time so the undead wouldn't corner her again. After she dropped that line, the vibe got incredibly cringe. Ka, still ticked off, started angrily kicking rocks across the pavement. Aishu looked like she was buffering, trying to find a fix. Meanwhile, Naro stood there frozen, hugging her stick with a face full of guilt. Meanwhile, Yu was completely sidelined. He knew if they left Naro behind, she was toast. Feeling like he had to step up and be the alpha hero, Yu jumped in front of her, forced a creepy smile, and flashed a thumbs up. He didn't say a word, just stood there grinning with his thumb out. Obviously, this just made Naro question his sanity. Ka even told him to maybe use his brain before his body next time. Aishu awkwardly apologized to Naro for having to witness Yu's weirdness. Naro genuinely asked, "What is wrong with this dude?" Aishu insisted he's a good guy, while Ka just shrugged and said he's not technically times a villain. Deep down, Yu was dying inside, swallowing his tears because the squad had officially friend-zoned him out of the conversation. Aishu got serious, asking Naro if avoiding an awkward reunion was worth dying for. She reminded her that nothing is more expensive than your own life. She refused to just stand there and watch someone throw their future in the trash, so she asked one more time, "Do you actually want to die?" Naro shook her head fast. Aishu smiled and stepped closer. "Spill the tea on your situation, I'm listening," Aishu said. Naro finally cracked, agreeing to talk as long as she could roll with the crew. Seeing Aishu clutch, the win made Yu feel extra useless. He just laughed it off, trying not to cry about his zero contribution to the team. Even Kao noticed his pathetic face and gave him a pity pat on the back while they walked. Yu tried to change the subject, asking Aishu if you can get infected without being chomped. Aishu confirmed that, yeah, it's possible. For example, getting scratched by those nasty fingernails is just as bad as a bite. Yu gave a twisted smile because he'd taken more beatings than that from the two girls walking right next to him. Ka heard him and immediately got defensive, claiming those incidents were unavoidable accidents. Aishu kept going, explaining that scratches are high risk because the virus slides right into the open wound. Then she dropped a bombshell. Even though it's rare, swapping fluids or contact with mucous membranes like the tongue is a game over. Naro innocently asked, "What's a mucous membrane?" Kei immediately shut Aishu down, yelling at her to stop the anatomy lesson. But Aishu was in lecture mode, clarifying that if zombie gunk gets in your mouth, you're joining the undead club. After that long chat, they finally pulled up to the spot. It looked like a big box store called Homejoy, and the guys guarding the perimeter were geared up. But weirdly, they weren't packing heat or blades, just blunt instruments like bats and pipes. Kyle wondered out loud if that loadout was specifically to keep the biters from breaching the gates. Naro started stressing, wondering if they'd even let a group of 4 in. She told Aishu she felt shy and would just hang back for a minute. Aishu nodded, promising to smooth-talk the guards. Naro stood there silent, eyes on the squad, but her head was in a totally different zone. She was obsessing over what Aishu said earlier, that a simple scratch could be a death sentence. See, there was this mark on the back of her hand. She couldn't tell if it was from a zombie trying to grab her, or just some flying broken glass during the chaos. It was so blurry she couldn't be sure if she was infected or not. Internal panic set in, but she tried to gaslight herself into believing she was fine. Aishu told Naro to chill there. They'd be right back. Naro nodded, then hesitated before asking, "Are you seriously going inside?" Hearing the fear in her voice, Aishu asked if the place was full of villains. Naro looked sketchy and replied, "I mean, not everyone. But it ain't exactly Disneyland either." Catching Naro's doubt-filled response, Aishu flips the switch to full-on main character energy. She flashes a $1,000,000 smile, claiming that even if these dudes are villains, she could fold these basic thugs like laundry, no sweat. So the squad rolls up to the spot. Kana lets out a breath, saying it's a total relief to see actual living humans here and not just more brain-eaters. Aishu nods, vibing with that sentiment. They even start clowning around, doing their best zombie impressions to prank each other as they approach the strangers. Classic team behavior. But the second they pull up, it's instant drama. The guards swarm them like paparazzi and block the path. The attitude was total trash, leaving Naro and Kana straight up shook and panicked. Aishu plays the surprise card, but low-key, she's scanning them like a hawk. Amidst the 21 questions, Kana leans in and whispers the dumbest idea ever, asking if they should admit they were bitten. "Girl, what?" Aishu hits her with a hard negative, whispering back that spilling the beans would be a one-way ticket to Drama City. They do not need that heat right now. Suddenly, hearing the commotion, a dude in a sharp suit steps out like he owns the place. He asks what's poppin', and the guards call him Sensei. "Yeah, okay, teacher. A bit pretentious, don't you think?" The goons explain that our trio just spawned out of nowhere. Aishu catches that Sensei title immediately and raises an eyebrow. Mr. Suit shrugs it off, saying the nickname just stuck because, shocker, he used to be a legit school teacher back in the day. Now he claims he's the coordinator of this shelter, fancy word for boss man, and asks for their backstory. Fast forward a few minutes, and after hearing their survival sob story, the dude acts all sympathetic. The crew drops the hint that they're just here hoping to score some grub. Aishu mentions their endgame is Tokyo. But let's be real, right now, the mission is just don't die. Sensei gives them a look, half pity, half nosy neighbor. He asks why they're so thirsty to get to Tokyo given the apocalypse. Aishu keeps her cards close to her chest, just saying they've got their reasons. Then, he offers the grand tour. He starts yapping about how more refugees equal more headaches, typical management talk. Apparently, everyone inside is paranoid and treats newcomers like potential threats. But catch this, while he's talking, he's exchanging some super sus looks with the guards. Major red flag alert. Here's the kicker. He tells Kana to wait at the entrance while he takes Nero and Aishu inside. Kana is not having it. She's like, "Excuse me." Hard pass. She gets spicy, asking what the difference is between 2 people or 3. Sensei hits her with a lame excuse. Kana is too loud and might spook the residents. Wow, the audacity. Surprisingly, Kana caves and agrees to wait at the door. Aishu tells her to sit tight, promising they'll bounce back in a New York minute. Inside, the vibe is depressing. Nero and Aishu are stunned. It's like a Walmart on Black Friday gone wrong. The aisles are just endless rows of makeshift beds. Aishu tries to peek behind a curtain, but Sensei blocks her like a linebacker. People are resting, he says, rushing them to the back without letting them stop. Super sketchy. He claims they have to segregate groups to stop infighting. Yeah, sounds like prison rules to me. He drops some lore. In just 1 month, society collapsed. No cops, no National Guard, just total anarchy. Like the purge out there. The hopeless ones flock here. But living in a shelter like this, it's basically an anxiety factory. Everyone's stressed about seeing tomorrow's sunrise. That stress breeds toxicity, theft, brawls, and even creeps assaulting people. All that in 30 days. They finally stop at a massive area that looks like a Costco stockroom. Sensei admits no cavalry is coming. The power grid is on life support, and they're basically running on fumes and hope. Bottom line, what they have is all they get. Sharing snacks with strangers, that's a burden they can't afford. So, it's a polite no to giving them food. But Aishu raises a hand. She spotted a supermarket nearby and calls him out on it. She asks, why not raid that place? Sensei scratches his cheek, classic liar tell, and says, for the greater good. They stay away. His story, people rushed it for loot and turned into an all-you-can-eat buffet for the undead. Now it's zombie central. They had to seal it up like a tomb. He warns them to steer clear for everyone's safety. Sounds convenient, right? Tour over, they exit the building. Naro asks, what's the move, boss? But Aishu is radio silent. She's scanning the area, panic mode engaging. Kana is gone. And even worse, those guards from earlier vanished into thin air. The realization hits Aishu like a freight train. She's furious with herself for not clocking the setup sooner. She barks orders at Naro, run clockwise around the perimeter, find her. She knows the missing guards and missing Kana are definitely connected. Naro starts freaking out as the pieces click together. Aishu prays she's wrong, but her gut says otherwise. They sprint off to find her. Cut to Kana, poor girl is being dragged away by those creeping guards. She's panicking and thrashing around like wild. Yep, these scumbags are trying to pull something nasty. But Kana, she's not a damsel. She fights back and plants a perfect kick right between a dude's legs. Bullseye. It's a total crisis moment. Kana is fighting for her life, and Naro and Aishu have no clue where she is. Don't forget to smash that like button and